We're trying a new thing of broadcasting live on Facebook and Zoom. In the meantime, I just lost my picture again. In the meantime, I'd like to just greet you and say thank you for coming by for this workshop today on voice health and care. I'd like to introduce our guest today. Um, my notes have disappeared along with my other screen, so we'll see what we can do here. There we go. We have my esteemed friend and colleague, Barbara, Dr. Barbara DeMaio. She's an associate professor of voice at the University of Central Oklahoma, executive director of Painted Sky Opera, and head of the UCO MM in Vocal Pedagogy program. In 2016, she was named a member laureate by Sigma Alpha Iota, and she has presented her DMA vocal pedagogy dissertation research on the effect of menopause on the elite singing voice in the form of workshops and presentations across the U.S. at La Voce Artistica in Ravenna, Italy, and at the Voice Geek Conference in Colchester, England. Our newly minute DMA, Dr. Shonda Devine, is a professor at Alabama A&M University, where she serves as director of the voice department. She is also a graduate of Alabama A&M University, where she holds a dual bachelor degree in music vocal performance and music master of music degree in performance voice, and is a recent graduate of Catholic University of America, where she received her doctorate of musical arts degree in vocal pedagogy. Idri Means Weekly is a rock star of vocal crossover, the cultural feed, and co-founder of the CCM Vocal Pedagogy Institute at Shenandoah University. She is an internationally recognized expert in training singers in all vocal styles and is an active professional singer. Idri is the recipient of the 2021 Van Lawrence Fellowship Award from the Voice Foundation and the National Association of Teachers of Singing Foundation. Idri was a master teacher for the Nats intern program in 2012. Her students can be heard on Grammy recordings and films on Broadway, off-Broadway, and national and international tours, television, including The Voice, American Idol, cruise ships, concert halls. She regularly presents at the Voice Foundation, Nats chapter national conferences, Pan American Vocology Association, Southeastern Theater Conference, and universities throughout the United States, and has authored several research publications in Journal of Voice regarding the teaching of commercial styles and vocal health. Last but not least, I have to say right now, I have two sorors on this panel, Shonda Devine and Dr. Lori Celeste Hicks. Ski-wee. Classical singer, composer, vocal coach, clinician, professor, and arts administrator. Serves as the chair of humanities and performing arts at her alma mater, Kentucky State University. She's a native of Motown, Detroit, Michigan. Dr. Hicks holds a Bachelor of Music Education from Kentucky State University, a Master of Music from Bowling Green State University, and a Doctorate of Musical Arts from the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. She has vocalizes for gospel singers, Highest Praise Voice Care, a 3-day boot camp for gospel singers, and most recently, the Black Women Composer Summit, a 3-day virtual conference celebrating the works of Black women composers. Dr. Hicks has presented her research at numerous conferences, including the 2018 NATS Regional and National Conferences, CMS, NAM, and her debut, Music of My Voice, was released in 2014 as a collection of spirituals and songs, all composed, arranged, and performed by Dr. Hicks. So that is our esteemed panel. And we're going to start off with Dr. Devine, who's going to talk about how the voice actually works. Take it away.
Good afternoon. I want to first say thank you for having me, Carolyn, Sora Carolyn, and I'm glad to be here. It's awesome to be around people that, especially Dr. DeMaio, who serves as like a mentor to me. She was one of the first, she headed one of the first summer programs that I went to as an undergrad and helped me discover a lot of things applicable to my voice. So this is really special to me to be on the panel with her. I am going to talk about how the breath works and breathe, how the breath works and how the voice works. It's a little technical, but just bear with me. It's almost like a human anatomy class. I'm trying not to make it too boring. So if you can just bear with me as I go through this. I'm going to try to make it as clear and concise as I possibly can. Okay, here we go. Let me share my screen. Okay.
Dr. Devine, while you're sharing, there's one little business I forgot to mention. Just for everyone, for our auditors, this program is being recorded, and I speak to you from the island of Mahata, which is now known as Manhattan, the land of the Lenape people. This will be recorded and posted on my YouTube channel probably within the week. So thank you for coming today. All right, take it away.
Breathing and how the voice works. So there are different schools of thought on how the breath actually works. For the purposes of this presentation, I'm going to talk about respiration, phonation, and resonance when it comes to breath support. The respiratory system, also known as breath support, includes the lungs, the rib cage, chest muscles, diaphragm, and windpipe, also known as the trachea. Breath is the fuel or power behind voice production. When we want to speak, we take a breath or inhale and then start speaking on the exhale. It is this flow of air moving up the windpipe and through the voice box that starts and keeps the vocal folds vibrating until you stop talking or you run out of breath. The chest and rib cage expand during optimal inhalation or taking a breath in. The diaphragm lowers involuntarily. Now, there are some common misleading theories to how we control the diaphragm regarding breathing. Many of us have heard the word sing from your diaphragm or speak from the diaphragm. This can be misleading because this cannot be directly felt or controlled by the conscious mind. Yet actions that we take can influence how the diaphragm engages. Abdominal muscles contract, and connection of the intercostal muscles, which are in between the ribs, can alter how the diaphragm functions. By taking low breaths or engaging your pelvic floor, the muscles you can feel by, not to sound crass, going to the bathroom, your diaphragm will contract, chest and ribs expand due to lungs taking in air, and the sternum, which you can see in this diagram, and you can also see the intercostals is between the ribs. The sternum will lift. Okay. During exhalation or breathing out, the intercostals contract, which allow the rib cage to decrease in size. For optimal breathing and staying power, you want to avoid taking shallow breaths. What are shallow breaths? The type of breaths that a lot of us have been taking most of our lives. It's where your upper chest moves in and out and sometimes can be seen and felt in our shoulders, or also known as the clavicle area. Breathing this way is not optimal for projecting your voice or lengthy phrasing. Taking lower breaths will give you good results in breath control. The phonatory system, phonation and vocal fold vibration. As you see here on the slide, vocal fold vibration is the sound source. There's a display that shows different views of how the larynx and vocal cords look. Vocal fold or vocal cords, they're interchangeable. Vibration is the source of your sound. The vocal folds are two very small muscles that have a moist covering within the larynx. The vocal folds are attached within the larynx to the largest of laryngeal cartilages, known as the thyroid cartilage or Adam's apple in men. The vocal folds produce sound when they come together and then vibrate as air passes through them during exhalation of air from the lungs. This vibration produces the sound wave for your voice. When you want to speak, you close your vocal folds and begin to exhale, causing an increase in pressure that starts them vibrating. cyclic opening and closing, which is what the vibration is. The vibration of the vocal folds chops the airflow, producing a buzz-like sound, which doesn't sound like what we hear when we listen to someone's voice. Resonance. Voice sound is amplified and modified by the vocal tract resonators. The buzzing tone created by the vocal folds becomes what we know as the human voice through resonance. Resonance is the shaping and amplification of the sound waves of the vocal tone. The length and shape of the vocal tract influences the shaping of this tone, as well as what structures or cavities the sound waves may bounce off. So if you look at this picture that's moving, it's showing you sound waves that are bouncing off of resonators, or it's a diagram of how it would look if we actually could see the sound waves. Resonance that occurs toward the front of the face is ideal. If you take a breath and hum on a steady tone for a few seconds, you can experience this sensation of resonance in front of your face. In contrast, if you growl, you can feel that the resonance is farther down in the back of your throat. Finally, once the sound waves reach your mouth from your throat, you use your articulators, your lips, teeth, and tongue to shape sound into speech. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about projection versus yelling. Projection of the voice, projection of the voice or loudness should come from an increase in airflow. The increase blows the folds apart apart in a longer vibration cycle, thus creating amplitude of sound pressure waves. Projection has a depth to the sound. It tends to have a slightly deeper pitch and a rounder, more complex sound. Yelling sounds kind of flat or shallow at a higher pitch. By taking low breaths and keeping the voice low and engaged to the breath, you will be able to achieve projection instead of yelling or shouting. Avoid tension in your throat by keeping the throat open. Imagine having an egg in the back of your mouth, or imitate the sensation of smelling a fragrance flower. This should assist you in opening the back of your throat, therefore giving you optimal positioning for projection. So that's all of my presentation. It's just the beginning and an introduction to how the breath and the voice works. And I hope that you learned something from it.
Great.